What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Good day to you. Nick again for the Game Sesh here, and just before we get rocking and rolling on the content of this video, just want to explain, I've been sitting on it for a while. I'm not necessarily all that happy with it. I think it's a chunkier topic that I could go into a lot more detail on, and I could basically explain myself in a clearer way, in a way that goes into a lot more detail. Basically, I feel like I glossed over the subject a little bit too quickly, and if I had a choice in the matter, I would go back and tweak my delivery of the subject a little bit. But you know what, eventually I said to myself, man, you gotta stop judging yourself, just get on with it. I am judging myself every left, right and centre on these videos at the moment, guys, but I realise I've just got to get on with it and just publish that shit. So, what's about to follow is the video that I'm talking about. Either way, guys, I hope the topic that I do cover here is at least felt by some other gamers out there. I can't be the only one who's got a love-hate relationship with Call of Duty. Let it roll. I've never really been a big COD fan. I've always looked out for other shooters to get my multiplayer fix, because after so many titles I decided COD just had this power to make me really angry. I always believed that quickscoping is a relic of a glitch from the past, and players would just use a sniper rifle like a shotgun if they could just figure out that timing with the triggers. This glitch from way back when would permeate through future COD titles, and as one after the other released, I was disappointed to see the COD dev teams had yet again not bothered to take it out. For those unwilling to use the handicap, or like me, just never figured out how to do it, it is a massive handicap, a game-breaking one for the winners and the losers. And I may be completely wrong here, you know, this is just a personal hypothesis, but I think that the stigma that surrounds the COD community is because of this glitch, this quickscope glitch that the devs have turned a blind eye to because of its popularity among the people who pay for their games. And that's one of the few reasons that many would likely keep coming back. It would spawn a host of reactive gameplay behaviours like camping, and this would in turn inform map design for future games, the kind of maps that encourage this shit. Like an unhealthy drug addiction, with each COD title that released I would end up going back to the fast-paced drip feed reward system that was COD after a year or so of a title's release. And I'd get angry again. I'd realise that once again the buggers hadn't got rid of the quickscoping. My skill level would increase all over again to get around all of the campers and the quickscopers, and the honeymoon would end and I would trade in yet another Call of Duty game. And that sense of unfairness, especially to players who would join late, was still clear and present every single time that I went back. To me, Black Ops 4 has got a bit of a personality issue, the kind of feel and context that maps get as a result of being drawn from an existing campaign on the disc. Of course, in this case, that campaign just isn't there. The main menu after initial load feels like it should be a subsection of a home screen, and that's just not there. For me, a multiplayer game without any campaign lacks a sense of context, and after all, a majority of Black Ops 4's maps are recycled from the previous games. It amazes me that no one is bringing that up. It also kind of makes me ask, what the heck am I spending $60 for? Treyarch didn't spend money on a campaign, except for a couple of 10-second long cutscenes that come with tutorials, and they can't have spent much on the maps, as a vast majority of those assets had already existed. So all that money must have, for the most part, been poured into Blackout and Zombies. Now, I'd love to play some Zombies with my friends, but it looks like they're all too busy with Red Dead 2 at the moment. I still need to pick that one up myself.
Say what?
But what changed with Black Ops 4? What made me go back to it so close to release this time around? Well, something as infinitesimal as tweaking time to kill pricked my ears up. And the reason for that, the Call of Duty developers haven't shifted or iterated on anything for years and years. The core mechanics have quite literally been identical every single time since Modern Warfare. And apparently that's enough for a lot of people, and if it is for you, that's cool. But man, it bored the hell out of me. A different set of clothes for each outing, it just wasn't enough for me. Call of Duty had become a victim of its own success, terrified to change anything. But Black Ops 4 grew some balls and switched things up a bit. The most obvious move here is Blackout, and you've all heard your share about that, so I'm not going to bang on about that one. What drew me in here was the hero system. It seemed interesting, or in the case of Black Ops 4, it's called Specialists. In the last few months, I've fallen in love with Quake Champions, and part of the reason for that is that different characters offer unique skills that cool down. It introduces a whole new ballpark of strategy for players to leverage, and not only has Black Ops 4 thrown a very similar system in, It doesn't just offer the one skill per character, but it offers two, doubling up on Quake Champion's offering. In a way, it kind of seems like it's a reactive move to more popular titles like Overwatch or Paladins. After all, Call of Duty's always been gently reactive to everything else in the games industry. I mean, Advanced Warfare came out, and just like Titanfall, all of a sudden we could double jump. For the first time since Modern Warfare, with the whole time to kill thing and this complete switch up of how we use gadgets and gear on the battlefield, things are kind of starting to feel a little fairer. That same crack-like addiction is still there, but now it feels less dangerous, less prone to making me want to throw expensive items out of a fourth floor window. I still feel like Call of Duty is suffering the creative cage of its past successes, but Black Ops 4 has set a precedent. It'll be interesting to see, after changing up so much this time around, if they bother to build something truly new and interesting in the future. As it stands, I still feel like the honeymoon period will wear off after a month or so, and like all before it, Black Ops 4 will get traded in. But for now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to see what I can unlock in the next match. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next game set. The quickscoping is still there, by the way, and so is my rage.